Hey there, Jonny May here, and welcome to this week's quick tip where I'm going to teach you how to play cocktail blues piano. Now you might be thinking, Jonny, what's cocktail blues? I've heard of cocktail piano and I've heard of blues piano, but never cocktail blues. Well, cocktail blues is a term that I use to describe a mix of traditional jazz ballad playing or cocktail piano and blues piano. So let me give you a quick example. This is what I would call traditional cocktail piano playing. Okay, really nice, very straight ahead, beautiful piano to listen to. And now I'm going to apply the cocktail blues stylization to the exact same melody and chords. Doesn't that sound amazing? So in today's quick tip, I'm going to teach you my 4-step process for how to play in the cocktail blues style. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into the lesson. And we're going to start with step number 1. We should start with the chord progression. The best chord progression that I recommend that you use if you want to play in the cocktail blues style is the turnaround chord progression. It is a very simple chord progression that really only uses 4 chords. So quick review, I'm going to teach you a beginner way of playing this and then a more intermediate way of playing this if you have some piano playing experience. The 4 chords that are used in the turnaround are F major 7, okay, real simple, all white notes stacked in thirds, D minor 7, again, all white notes stacked in thirds, G minor 7, this has a B flat in the chord, and then the 4th chord that you need to know is called a C7 when we play it down here. Okay, so this is step number 1. Make sure you can play these 4 chords in root position. It's called the turnaround chord progression. All right, so how would you play this in a more interesting way? If you're a little bit more on the beginner side, you want to groove on these chords. Okay, there's a very hip way to play these chords, and it's very simple, and here's how you do it. Basically, you're going to grab a low F on the bottom, and then we're going to grab the E and the A, okay? And these are 2 notes that come from this F major 7 chord. They're called the 3rd and the 7. We call them guide tones, really, really important notes for the chord, okay? So that's chord number 1. Chord number 2, we're going to hop up to our D. We're going to play the F and the C, okay? Really simple. These are notes that come from the D minor 7. Next chord, G minor 7, grab that G on the bottom, got the F and the B flat. Again, these are notes that come from that G minor 7 chord I taught you, 3 and 7, once again called guide tones. And then our C7, we're going to play like that. Okay, really simple. C on the bottom up to E and B flat. And this is such a cool chord progression. As soon as you start grooving on it, it feels really good, okay? So you kind of want to jam on this. And then once you're feeling kind of good about this, let's go ahead and play this with the included backing track. Here's how it goes. And here we go. That nice D. Sounding really nice. You can do little 5-1s. See what I'm doing there? Basically, a 5-1 is called a pickup note. Right before you play that root note on the bottom, you can go up a 5th and grab that C just before your F. So 5-1, 5-1 to the D, that's A to D, D to G, that's a 5-1, and then to your C, 5-1 like that. It'll give it a little bit more swing. Love to use that little setup note. Okay, so that's the beginner left hand. If you have some piano playing experience, you want to play a little more interesting chords. You're going to learn these gorgeous chords. We call these rootless voicing chords. Okay, first chord, F major. We're going to grab that F on the bottom. The chord is E, G, A, and C. Okay, this is called an F major 9. It's basically an F major 7 chord that I taught you earlier, except we're adding a G to the chord, okay? That's the basic chord we're playing, except we're voicing it in a very hip way, okay? This is called a B voicing, if you want to know exactly what this is called. Second chord, D minor 7, we're going to grab that D on the bottom. There's the chord F, A, C, and E. Same chord I taught you earlier, it's a D minor 7, except we're adding a 9 to the chord, making it a little more hip. G minor 7, we're going to grab here, F, A, B flat, and D. Again, it's a G minor 7, except we're adding the A, which is the 9. Beautiful rootless voicing chord. And then we're going to grab a C on the bottom and play the gorgeous C13 chord, okay? It's a C7, except we're adding some notes. We're adding a D and an A, which we call the 9 and the 13, okay? If you don't know your rootless voicing chords, that's okay. You can learn them all in our Rootless Voicings course at pianowithjonny.com. I'll put a link to that below. Also, if you're more on the beginner side and you want to learn more about these guide tone chords, these are called guide tones and chord shells. We have a whole course where you can learn them in all 12 keys and we apply them to songs, okay? So if you're a little more on the intermediate side, let's go ahead and play this with a backing track, and then we're going to talk about the scale that I like to use to play in the gospel blues style. Okay, here we go with the backing track. And here we go. Sounding great. You can do little 5/1s. Ah, love, love, love this sound. All right, let's move on, and we're going to talk about the best scale to use, or the one that I recommend if you want to improvise in the gospel blues style. It is called the gospel scale, okay? It's also called the major blues scale, and here is the scale. We're going to play F, 2 finger on G, 3rd finger on A flat. We're going to go thumb on the A, index finger on the C, middle finger on the D. That is your gospel scale. Basically, all the notes I'm playing right now come from the gospel scale. It is an amazing scale. So this is kind of the next step, is learn this scale. Make sure you can play it somewhat comfortably up the piano. It's only 6 notes. And it sounds really nice. It works over almost any genre of piano and almost any song if you want to improvise. Now, I don't recommend that you just jump into improvising with this scale because you need to practice improv. And so what I did here is I put together 2 really good exercises to help you kind of get ready to start improvising. The first is a beginner exercise. If you're a little bit newer to improvising at the piano, this is the exercise that I recommend. It basically goes like this. Okay, it's a simple 8th note exercise, and I'm going to show you the more simple left hand pattern. You can use the more intermediate left hand accompaniment if you'd like, okay? So basically I'm going to come up the scale, same fingering I taught you, do a hold on the F, and then we bring it down. That's it. And we do a hold on the F, all right? These are called 8th notes. Left hand, we're going to play the same chords. I taught you the beginner chords. G minor. Sounds so cool, very bluesy and very easy to listen to. Here's how the hands come together. 1 and 2, that comes together. And 3, that's together. And 4, and then we bring it down. 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. Okay, does that make sense? So you want to make sure the hands are lining up correctly. Want to build some speed. Once you're feeling good on this, let's play it with the included backing track. And by the way, this backing track is downloadable at pianowithjonny.com, as well as the lesson sheet music you're seeing up here on the top left of the screen. It's downloadable and printable. You can also change the key of this lesson with our smart sheet music. You can practice it in any key, so I'll put a link to that below. Okay, here's the backing track. Here we go. Okay, does that make sense? So you're going to want to repeat this several times to get nice and comfortable with it. If you have some playing experience, I recommend our intermediate exercise. This is a triplet exercise. Doesn't that sound amazing? The way we do this exercise, we're going to play our gospel scale up the piano, but instead of ending on this F, we're going to go up 2 octaves to the higher F, okay? So check this out. We're going to come up the scale, same fingering I taught you, A, C, D. But then when we get to this F, instead of using our pinky, we're going to use our thumb. And then we continue up the piano. And then on that high F, we're going to come straight back down. 3, 2, 1. Third finger down. And then third finger down, okay? So that's the way we play the notes. The rhythm is a triplet rhythm. Triplet, 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 triplet. Does that make sense? All right, let's put it with the left hand nice and slowly. Here we go. Triplet, trip. That lines up. And then on the F here, we're gonna grab that D on the bottom. And then the A comes with this chord, triplet. And then G lines up with the top note, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's how we line up triplets. All right, let's play this with a backing track, and then I'm going to teach you one more technique I love to use with this scale, and then we're going to improvise. Here we go. And here we go. Okay. By the way, when you're practicing these exercises, you can use the more intermediate level left hand if you want to play a little bit more interesting chords. All right, by the way, if you want to learn more exercises on the gospel scale, the major blues scale, check out our major blues scale course. Not only do I teach you different exercises that you can use to practice this scale, but I show you all the ways that you can use this scale to improvise over different songs and styles. Okay, step number 3, once you're able to play your eighth notes in triplets, is to start incorporating some slides. Okay, do you hear all those slides in there? It gives it instantly a very bluesy sound. Okay, so there are 3 slides that I like to use on this scale. The first slide is a slide up to the A. Okay, and the way you do it is you grab the note just below it, this black note. I use the same finger for the slide, so you're going to grab that A flat and slide up to the A. Okay, now you can use your middle finger, we call it the third finger, or you can use your index finger, we call it the 2 finger. Okay, but you want to just practice getting a nice smooth motion. That's slide number 1. Slide number 2 is a down slide to G. Again, you can use your 2 finger like that, or you can use your 3 finger, but we're sliding off that A flat down to G. And the third slide I like to use on the major blues scale is an up slide to D, okay? So we're gonna up slide from the D flat up to the D. I like to use my 3rd finger. You can also use your index finger on this slide, okay? So slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, okay? Make sure you can play these 3 slides before we move on. Okay, now, should you start improvising with these slides right away? No, you want to practice the slides before you start improvising. So here's a quick gospel slide exercise that I love to teach my students. I recommend that you use. Okay. Basically what I'm doing, I'm kind of up high here on the piano. I'm going to slide the A up to the C, play it again, down slide the G down to F, and play it again. And now we're going to skip down here to our D. We're going to up slide the D up to F, same thing. And then we're going to jump back up and down slide the G down to F, and then the same thing, okay? It's a very simple exercise, and it basically repeats itself because you're going to end up where you started, okay? Now for fingering, I do recommend the 3rd finger on the up slide. On the down slide, I recommend the 2 finger. On the up slide to D, the 2 finger, I'd use the ring finger here. And then on the second one, I'd go thumb, and now I'd go 2 finger back to the F, okay? The way the hands line up on this, I'll go slow. 1 and 2 is together, and 3 is together, and 4 is together, okay? And then down 1 and 2, that's together, and make sure you put the thumb there on the and then 3 is together, and 4. Okay, okay? You're gonna wanna speed this up. Let's play it with the backing track, and then we're gonna talk about how to improvise using these techniques. Here we go. Here it is. Ah, that sounds so good. Okay, are you ready to improvise? This is the most exciting part of this lesson. Now, before we improvise, I want to talk about my 3 line building tips. Whenever you're improvising at the piano, you're playing lines. That's a line. That's a line, okay? Every line has a very clear start and end point, okay? So you want to leave little gaps in between each line. So how do you actually create an interesting line? Well, there are 3 guides that I always think about when I'm improvising, and I really recommend that you think about. The first thing is try starting each line on a different note, okay? The second thing is try starting each line on a different beat. And the third thing is to try starting each line in a different direction. So you might do some down lines, some up lines. Does that make sense? Okay, so these are the 3 line building tips. All right, let's go ahead and play this with a backing track, and I'm gonna walk you through how I would craft an improvisation, okay? As we start, we're gonna start very simple with a lot of 8th notes and then build, okay? Here we go. Starting with 8th notes. Nice little gaps. See how it's kind of simple? You can throw some little slides in there. Okay, now at this point, I might start using some triplets. Triplet, 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 triplet. You can use some slides and triplets. Triplet, triplet, triplet. Make sure to use the full range of the keyboard. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. To vote on future piano lesson topics, be sure to follow us at Piano with Jonny on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And if you want to learn more blues piano, click right there to sign up for my free 10-day blues challenge. I'll see you in the next one.